Welcome to Autism Acceptance Month. Autism representation in media is a topic that many videos have covered over the years, and not for good reason. Over the years, we've gotten many examples of autism representation, most of which have not been well received. Today, I will be covering the top 5 worst mistakes in creating an autistic character. Number 5. Autism only two ends of a spectrum disorder. As I've established, autism is a spectrum disorder, but not in the regular sense. When most people think of a spectrum, they think something like this. More autistic or less autistic. However, the autism spectrum is more like rolling for a D&D character. However, often with autism representation, people only use 2 points on the spectrum. Either you get the socially awkward savant stereotype, or the nonverbal low-functioning stereotypes. Note the quotation mark. While both of these are loosely based in truth, they are often extremes, not the reality. But how do you avoid this issue? There are 2 ways to avoid running into this issue. The first method is to aim for a more moderate depiction. Go for an example that isn't so specific, avoiding savant syndrome or nonverbal low-functioning. Or the other option is to, if possible, include multiple autistics, in order to show the variety of people on the spectrum. Every autistic individual is different, and it's impossible for a single character to represent the entire community. Number 4. Getting emotional. Autism spectrum disorder has a strange impact on emotions that makes autism filming a bit difficult. I do not know why I need to emphasize this, but autistics do in fact have emotions. If you disagree, state so in the comments so I can prove you wrong.
I'll hunt you down and gut you like a fish!
However, autistics show emotions differently than neurotypicals. This can cause difficulties in showing autistic characters' emotions, often making them look like robots. But how do you avoid this? First, make it clear through writing and dialogue that the autistic is experiencing emotion. Often autistics are very blunt and say what's ever on our minds, for better or for worse. Number 3. Connotation, connotation, connotation. Generally, in a movie about autism, it'll either display it in an overly positive or overly negative light. However, the truth is much more complicated, as autism is a gray area, having both positives and negatives. Which is ironic, as one of the possible symptoms of autism is not being able to see gray areas, dealing purely in absolutes.
Only a Sith deals in absolutes.
Wrong, sir. Wrong. This issue is fairly easy to avoid, though. Simply acknowledge both the weaknesses and strengths. Number 2. Making an autistic character not a character with autism. When creating any character, it's important to make them 3-dimensional. This is equally true for autistic characters. All you have to do is involve the autistic character in a neurotypical plotline. That's literally it. The best example I can think of at the moment is Hawkeye. Sure, he's a disabled character, but his disability isn't his entire character. And yes, we can have character flaws, as long as they aren't caused by autism, because, we're human. And the number 1 worst mistake in creating an autistic character is, of course, number 1, ignoring autistic people. Imagine, if you will, that someone was making a documentary about your life. However, they never interviewed you, and the only research they did was a 5-minute Google search. I just described every autism movie to you. If you are planning on writing an autistic character, please contact an autistic person. This is called an autism consultant, and this is literally their job. I exist and am perfectly willing to help. Simply comment your questions below. Also, for the love of all that's holy, do not use Autism Speaks as a source.